Thank you for all coming in today and being part of a presentation which we're all very excited about to give. Our journey with Robson Civil, and as we've stated up there, we're very passionate about sustainability and connection, and we all know you guys are too, through the different areas that you guys operate in the industry. So you've read our report, you've seen the charter, and now we'd like to go through kind of the journey that we've undertaken to get us here. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. So I'll give a brief overview of what we're going to run through today. First, we want to talk about us as Nexus and who we are. Then we'll be talking about our partnership with Robson and how that came to be. And then our SDGs that we pursued with them. And also briefly touch on the roadmap we developed to help implement those SDGs. Some key facts and takeaways from this project, and a brief testimonial from our customer. So who are we? My name's James Phillips. I'm the report lead at Nexus. I make sure all the hard work by our team gets delivered to the customer in a clear, concise report and builds a good foundation for their SDG journey going forward.
Yeah, I'm Sebastian. I'm the lead consultant at Nexus. So I make sure that the customer really gets what they want. I'm really the link between the customer and our whole team. The customer is the most important for us. We do this for our customer, in this case Robson. So we're customer centric. We didn't do that for us, and I've always made sure that the team knows that, that the outcome is really for Robson. It's not for Hunternet, it's not for the team, it's really for Robson. It was always our goal, and we communicated that with Robson as well a lot. And there was I think, and we did a great job at that. I think the report and the charter, as we said, stated that.
So I call it, Jason, thank you for wearing a Nexus shirt. You're a legend. So I'm Jason, yours, the team leader, and it was great having an oversight of the project in whole, and also helping elevate these people up to do their best, and also we all took an SDG and we all sort of became the specialists in that SDG, which you'll see today. Unfortunately, Jack and Jess can't be here due to other commitments. However, we will hear from them virtually later on in the presentation. Also, the other thing to say, Jess has quite a few years of research, and she's first class in what she does in construction management. She's a lecturer at the university, and so with her research and her background, she's been able to deliver top-notch material for us to leverage on. And Jack, he's our project manager, and without him and his commitment to time and budget, we wouldn't have got here today to present to you all. And last but not least, Trish, who's in the room also. She's been fantastic help throughout the whole project as a company mentor, and really helped us succeed to where we are today as well. So this is our vision, our mission, and our values. We're very passionate about sustainability, like I said, and connection. And I guess we wanted to have some fun in our group, and really build a level of trust and stuff. We grew rapidly to 5 people, as you would have read in the report. So we've had a great time with this, and we really want to give back to the region and other businesses going forward.
So you will hear now a little bit about why we took the construction industry in our focus, and you will hear from Jess about that, because, as Jason said, she's a lead researcher, and she actually took us on that journey to the construction area. It's her background, so you hear from her.
There's quite a few stats on the street just to show you how important the construction industry is. Construction has featured heavily in a lot of debates around sustainable development, but it's tended to be focused around an environmental dimension. So the UN 2030 agenda and its SDGs have provided a new sort of opportunity for construction to also look at other sustainable outcomes apart from environmental, so social as well as economic. So the construction industry connects with all 17 SDGs, but it obviously plays a key role in relation to specific SDGs, and at Nexus we work closely with our clients to identify which ones they can make the most impact in and which ones would actually benefit the most in terms of their revenue and business.
So we know now construction industry is really important for sustainability, right? But how do we go to Robson? Well, we looked at the Hunternet members. There's actually only one real construction company in there, which is Robson. But then we, of course, we delved a little bit deeper into that, and we found it's a really good fit for us because they are a huge player in the East Coast in construction and civil industry. And they're a good size as well. They have over 300 people working for them, which is quite respectable for this area. So, and they already had a good structure. They are ISO 9001 certified. So that all took us, yeah, that's a pretty good fit. So we contacted Chris Dixon, you can see here on the left. He's the manager for business development and marketing at Robson. And he was on board right away. The first time we emailed him first, within an hour he came back, oh, that's a great idea, we want to work with you guys. And that gave us a lot of energy as well. The first time we met, we could feel that energy. He came already with his team. We had a great first meeting, and it evolved from there. Every meeting we had, we got better and better. And they got involvement as well. So does us talking, us coming up with ideas. They participated and they threw up ideas, and we threw ideas against each other, and it was a really good work together. So yeah, that's how we got to Robson. And now we're going to talk about the SDGs we developed for that. We grabbed 5 SDGs. I know we had to do 3, but we took the 5 that fitted the best to them in conjunction with them. So it was, again, a process together with them, what fits them and where they're already strong at and where they want to be strong at as well. So it's really what fits to their strategy and their culture and to the whole company. It was really important for us. As I said earlier, we want to give them something they can work with afterwards, so we can't just give them something that they're not on board with. And actually the first SDG is my SDG, SDG 13. I'm really passionate about climate, although my background is German, from an industry country you probably wouldn't recognize, but I work with the climate day to day. And when we looked at Robson, we said, what's your biggest impact on climate change? Well, it's CO2 emissions, and it's in everybody's thought right now anyway, but they have a really big fleet of vehicles, mainly off-road, and a huge diesel consumption. So a lot of diesel means a lot of CO2 emissions. And they already had a really good target. They want to be CO2 neutral by 2050. But then we asked, well, how do you want to get there? And they didn't have an answer. So, the target is a first step, but we gave them now the road, we paved them the road to there. So we said, well, you can't manage what you can't measure, so we have to measure first. So as you read in the report, we have all the steps they can now take to set their baseline first, and then go through the whole process and minimizing the impact on the CO2, and then go to net zero. And they're all on board for that. And if you see later, they actually have a financial benefit on that as well. So. Cool. Well, I'll hand over because that really ties into the next SDG.
Thanks, Seb. So SDG 12 was one of the 5 we selected for with Robson, which is responsible consumption and production. And why do we choose that one, right? The construction industry and its projects, by its nature, are pretty large in scale and resource demand. So even minor or small gains there can have really long-term big impact. SDG 12 is about efficiency. It's about doing more with less resources. So it also ties in quite well with profitability through reducing company overheads. So there's 3 key areas in this SDG of energy usage, water usage, and waste. And from our initial meetings with Robson, they're not really tracking not at a company scale anyway, these metrics. So that was our first recommendation, was to start tracking these, start compiling data from your projects and to a company-wide scale so we can see where we're at. So we can establish a baseline, and as Seb mentioned, so we can manage what we're measuring. You might be wondering why there's some concrete benches up there. We actually had some really good employee engagement on this one with respect to waste. They identified on big projects where you're using a lot of concrete, there's always concrete going to waste, going to landfill. So instead of it just going to landfill, they suggested that they could precast some concrete benches and tables, and they can be used in the local community. So it's like a twofold effect really, where we're not throwing concrete out for no real reason, and we're also increasing Robson's engagement with the local community. Back to the metrics. Once they've established the metric, another recommendation was just to have ongoing reviews of these metrics, right? So have either an annual review or biannual review where we can review the metrics and you can identify areas where there's obvious inefficiency, like low-hanging fruit, and also to plan for the company future and how they tie in. And then once you've got this review going, you can have the outcomes of this in an annual report, either in a standalone sustainability report or with Robson within their annual report, so that everyone's got visibility and the company from the top to bottom kind of knows the plans and the goals and what they're doing to achieve that. It also gives everyone accountability to hit these targets. So that's SDG 12.
So we've touched on the costs of the company and also the, I guess, the resource company, but the one resource we haven't spoken about is the people, which Robson are very passionate about their people. And they're already doing some things in SDG 3 that we have identified, and I'll get Jack to talk about why we chose SDG 3 and the benefits that we identified.
At Nexus, we look at the potential benefits of SDG 3, good health and wellbeing, into two main areas. The soft, employee-focused physical health benefits, being the moral perspective of duty of care, and in addition, noting that wellbeing is shown to increase employees' voluntary performance, the additional work they do above their normal responsibilities. As well as this, we look at the hard organisational operational benefits, the direct, realisable financial benefits to the business that come from good employee health and wellbeing. Higher levels of employee wellbeing have proven a causal link to greater labour productivity, and increased employee health results in a reduction in sick leave, stress compensation leave, and staff lateness.
So like I said, they're already fully on board with looking after their employees. They want to continue things like the yearly vaccine for flu. They're investigating things like private health insurance. So they've got a lot of benefits which they want to add. And Jack touches on the number one benefit that we outlined to them that we felt was worth highlighting.
The main action for Robson's operational goals was around organisational resource planning. Keeping staff refreshed is good for morale and their wellbeing. Staff working over one full-time equivalent workload identifies an opportunity for more resources, and should this opportunity for additional resources be realised, having these additional people working in parallel instead of one person doing everything in series means the jobs are completed quicker, increasing revenue year on year. As such, our final SDG 3 related goal for Robson was to ensure that no staff are consistently working above one full-time equivalent. This is going to be measured through their current fatigue management system, which is already in place, managing employee hours to ensure they're not fatigued at work. Robson's target in this area is to ensure that no staff are working above 10% times the average full-time workload, being the 1.1 full-time equivalent. It's also expected that this will pay a financial dividend through the reduction in staff stress-related compensation claims and sick leave, not to mention the increase in revenue year on year from those additional resources. Back to you guys.
So you're probably wondering where are all those extra staff going to come from, and that's where we tie into SDG 5, the one that I'm passionate about and want to see a change. So attending a meeting at Hunterwise and also speaking to Rebecca Dean and also Renata Roberts and getting an understanding of what the National Construction Women's in Construction group is aiming to do, and Women in Building and Associated Services. Was able to sort of help me as a straight white male sort of understand more, like, I didn't fully appreciate the struggles to the sentiment, you can't be what you can't see. And so through that, we went to Robson and took them on the journey too, because they had like Seb said, with the climate change one, they also had signed up to 50% female representation by 2050, but I assume in 2049 they were going to figure out how to get there. So we gave them some fairly actionable things in the report, and on top of that, I guess the key point that highlights the problem is that women make up about 50% of the workforce in Australia, and in construction it's around about 5% of women in construction. So it's very low, and obviously there's a massive untapped pool of talent there, and a massive untapped chance for diversity of thought and innovation and just different ways of doing things. So I think we all have females in our lives that we want to elevate, and also have the opportunities that we've had throughout our careers so far and continue on. And so that's why I was really passionate to dive into this one and see what we could do to help them out and change the norm. So we decided to bookend the SDGs with SDG 4, because as Jess is about to talk about, SDG 4 really helps encapsulate all of the other SDGs and bring them forward.
So at Nexus, we think that SDG 4, which is quality education, underpins the success of all the other SDGs that we're looking to implement within Robson. So the way we look at it is SDG 4, quality education, is probably like having a common language within the organisation. So it's kind of like having, basic understanding of what sustainability is. And it can be likened to, English. If people don't understand English, we can't actually communicate with each other and we can't achieve anything. So it's having that common understanding within Robson in terms of what SDGs they're looking to target. And I suppose even before that, there's a term called Phase 0, where prior to telling people what we want to achieve, you've got to tell them what they are. So SDGs are, they're quite new, not just in the industry, they're quite new globally. They're quite a new concept for most people. So I suppose Phase 0 really is looking at educating the organisation, all the staff within the organisation in terms of what SDGs are, and then the next step is to sort of take them on a journey in terms of where we want to get to and how we're going to get there. So that education piece around what SDGs are, and quality education around what they are, that really underpins how we're going to successfully implement all the other actions around all the other SDGs.
Thanks, Jess. I'll hand over to James to talk about our roadmap.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. So as part of our delivery to Robson, we had a charter of all our recommendations, and then along with this charter we had a roadmap of how to implement these recommendations, because it's really not possible or practical to just implement them all at once, and not really effective. So we kind of broke it down into like immediate recommendations or actions, some more medium term and then long term ones. So the immediate ones are easy effort, low cost, and all have the most immediate impact. And a good example of that is the fuel management system that Seb will speak to shortly, but that has more or less direct savings immediately. So silly not to implement straight away. Along with this, it's the start tracking your metrics. So that's an easy one, doesn't cost much, and will pay off in the long term. Also, start joining the women's in construction groups. And another easy one, low effort with a big impact. And then the more medium term ones, which is about a year or so, will be revolved around, once you've started tracking your metrics, then you can start reviewing them, start implementing plans from that, and then also start recording it. more medium-term ones would be anything around employee satisfaction and well-being, as well as training, especially in mental health. And then your long-term ones are more around, I'd say, your women engagement and employee, trying to boost that up. That's something that's not going to change overnight, and unfortunately it's going to take a while. But if we put in plans, we'll get there. That's the roadmap. Over to you, Ed.
Thank you. I want to talk about the key facts that Robson took out of this. And we think that's really impressive. So the first number you see there is just from the fuel management system. Because currently, they don't track their fuel and they don't claim tax credits. It's directly in their pocket, that's profit over there. Right? They're using around about 1.2 million litres of diesel every year off-road, and that's their savings. Pretty incredible. They always fall off their chair when they're that. And they can fund sustainability stuff with that, right? All the actions we have put to them, they can fund with this easily and more. So really great now. The next thing that really excited us is that Chris talked about their strategy. They had a strategy meeting about a few weeks ago, and they didn't talk about sustainability in that. Well, in our conversations, he then realized, oh shit, there's a huge risk for the company if we don't put that in the strategy. So now they're going to use our charter and everything we talked about in the executive meeting and looking into changing their strategy. So we'll have another executive meeting, board meeting at the end of this month, and he's going to put that forward to them. And for us, it's the best thing that can happen. Right? They change their strategy, or they really believe in it. So that was awesome for us to hear. And we actually, Jason and I, we offered that we can actually present it to them as well. So Chris is looking that if we can get a time slot then, even after this project's finished, to present it to them and help them get moving forward on this. So, and they also realized that, well, there's a talent shortage everywhere at the moment, and this can really help them get the right talent into the business, be it female talents, or even younger people who wants to be part of a sustainable future and sustainable company. So they really realize that as well, and that's really the key factors. And we put the team in there as well because it was a team effort. It wasn't just us as Nexus, it was Robson as well. They helped us so much with it. Without them, we wouldn't have had that outcome either. So yeah, really a great experience for us and for them. It really was. And next, Chris wanted to say something in person, but he unfortunately couldn't make it here today, not in this time. He had some business things he needed to do, but he recorded this for us.
Hi, my name's Chris Dixon, and I am the Business Development and Marketing Manager for Robson Civil Projects New South Wales. As part of the 100 Future Leaders program, the team at Nexus engaged with Robson Civil Projects this year to work through our sustainability development goals, ultimately to ensure the ongoing success of our business and ultimate sustainability of the business. We worked through SDGs 3, 4, 5, 12 and 13, which are all integral parts of our business and we see as the way forward for Robson Civil. The team at Nexus really communicated their message very clearly, kept us involved and informed throughout the entire process. Nothing was ever too much of a hassle, and we really looked forward to every meeting we had with the team. Wish them all the success in the Future Leaders program, and again, a great result for Robson's. It's being presented to our board in November, end of November, and we'll take it forward from there. Thanks again, and good luck.
Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Probably a lot, so fire away.
Fire away.